Or
These
whatever
are
the
all true.
or whatever the Rock said way back in the day. That was funny.
Right, theoretically, this should be working. I believe we've just gone live for the first time. I'm just waiting for the actual screen to
Feels
show
like
up.
the
Does it
first
work?
time.
Yes, it does. It does work. Right, fingers crossed, we are now live streaming, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wrestle Plug podcast. We are going to discuss WWE Survivor Series, because that was last night. We would have streamed this straight afterwards, but I passed out halfway through the pay-per-view, so I had to finish off watching it. Fuck you, I'm English.
I'm not blaming you, dude. Because the show wasn't boring, so I assume you'd just be exhausted. Because your
Yep.
sleep schedule is like on East Coast time, like my
It
time.
was. Now it's back to normal. So, although it means that I can go for all my lovely country walks, which people, frankly, who are watching this don't give a shit about, yeah, it also means that it's more difficult for me to watch things live unless I have a mucho amount of caffeine and also, paraphernalia. Um, right, Survivor Series, mate. You watched it in full. You watched it in full live, am I correct?
I didn't watch the pre-show because I never do, but I did watch the entire show.
What? This is an outrage. Well, we can't do this stream then, can we, ladies and gentlemen? Because,
Oh
as we
shit,
all
sorry
know,
guys.
the stream is so freaking important. Well, it is for a good toilet. I don't even know what happened on the pre-show because I didn't watch it, please.
There's a dual brand battle
Oh,
royal, I
was that
think.
the Battle Royal where
Yeah,
the
the
Miz
Miz
won?
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, great.
So
Dominic
guys,
got stitched
that
up.
happened.
Yeah, I mean, nice for Dominic, whatever, nobody cares. Opening the show properly was our Men's Survivor Series match. Here comes Skipper. Yeah, AJ Styles and the gang versus, of course, Jey Uso and the gang, so to speak. Nice, nice. Shameless plug there. I don't know why I'm wearing an AEW t-shirt, but it is what it is. I was wearing it earlier and I couldn't be asked to change. What do you want me to do? Wear a fucking suit? So yeah, the men's team. Now, I predicted Raw. I'm not sure if you predicted SmackDown or not.
I believe I also predicted Raw.
Yeah, I can't remember, to be honest. I don't really care. There's only 6 matches, and it's not like there's
Yeah.
a forfeit. And if there was, I would make you sing something incredibly awkward, like, I don't know, Maria and Mike Kanellis' theme music from when they were at 205 Live. But we won't. We're not that cruel. Yeah, Raw, clean sweep. What do you think about Raw, clean sweeping SmackDown? Jey Uso, of course, being the last man for Team SmackDown and essentially getting his shit pushed in, even though he gave it a good try. You okay with the booking of this match? I thought the match itself was excellent, but what did you think about it?
I mean, I really enjoyed the match. It had two of my favorites, with AJ and KO on opposite sides, so that was a bit of a heartbreaker. But like the Seth sacrifice thing, I get. It just fucking man, we keep bringing it up. I think he just played Far Cry 5 last week.
Yeah.
Like it has to be. Like that was so unreal. So SmackDown's down 5-4 almost immediately. KO hits a stunner on everyone, not a single pinfall. Let's just crush that finisher for a while, guys.
Yeah.
And then, when Jey Uso became the last guy for SmackDown, I'm like, okay, he's gonna at least get one, right? He has to. And then he
No, he
doesn't.
doesn't.
I mean, the only booking decision I like from this is that Keith Lee got the deciding win, because I love me some Keith Lee with his new-ish theme music, which is a banger. Not as good as NXT, better than his main roster debut, but it was weird, man. I expected Raw to win, but not the clean sweep. That kind of fucked me off a little.
Yeah, I'm being told, apparently, according to one of our wonderful people in the chat, that apparently there's a double echo. So I will attempt to fix that now. Let me know how that is, gang. I do apologise for that. This is pretty much still a test run, although we managed to get a little one in earlier. It was basically a little bit more echoey. So let us know in the chat if the echo has improved somewhat. Thank you very much to Ella B for jumping in and helping out in that regard. Yeah, I really like this match, actually. I really like the dynamic of it. I like the comedy elements of it, too. I really love all the work, right, that was done on Raw to make Team Raw feel like a fun team that could implode at any point. It all came off so beautifully here. And I really appreciated that, and I really enjoyed that. Better but quieter, apparently. That's probably because I'm not speaking into the mic. Is that correct? In which case... Hey, we're live, people. Fuck it. We're doing it live. Just turn your volume up, I guess. What more do you want from me? Yeah. I thought that, obviously, well, at least hopefully Kyle can hear me and we'll just have to sort something out later. yeah, I honestly thought that all the work that had been done on Raw to make everybody feel like a more prominent and interesting working vehicle for this, because I feel like Raw put in a lot more work than SmackDown did to
Oh,
make their
100%.
men's team feel a little bit more credible. And also, they had a good storyline to back them up, as did the Raw women's team as well, a lot more than the SmackDown women's team. And I
uh,
think that showed in the stories. These matches were really good for story. And also, Keith Lee picks up the last win. That's good for him. I think everybody looked good in this match. Like you say, Seth Rollins, the Joseph Seed angle. I don't know if that's got something to do with Becky needing more time, obviously, at home. I know that she's becoming heavily pregnant. Maybe it was a case of, yeah, you're going to get kicked. You're going to be out of here for the greater good, because technically it is for the greater good. um, but I didn't mind it, to be honest. I appreciated the match itself. I thought it was an entertaining opener. Actually, I must admit I was a little bit taken aback when I saw it as the opener. I was like, huh. So fair enough. Good match. To be fair, very very good match. Any other thoughts,
um,
mate? While I try and fix my microphone on this dreadful stream.
I appreciate it, like when the match was over, like kind of like their pose when they all pose together in the middle of the ring. You just saw AJ's giant fucking buddy towering over like Braun Strowman, which is still weird. But yeah, just like I even expected Riddle to at least get knocked out, right? But no, he didn't.
Yeah.
But no, like just his
I
little
wanted Baron
pose and then
Corbin to roll him up. And
right.
yet he finally got a win on Corbin. Because Corbin, not only did he beat him last year in the Survivor Series match, but also he eliminated him from the Royal Rumble. There had been quite a few elements to it, and I was really hoping that they were going to continue that, and
Hmm.
ultimately they didn't, which is a bit of a shame. But nonetheless, I enjoyed it. To be fair, I thought it was a good opener. And like you say, Team Raw winning is the right choice as well. I feel like they put in so much work to this match. It almost felt like SmackDown's team was a bit more of a mismatch, didn't it? It was just kind of loads of
Yeah, it was like
guys that were
th-
chucked
they
in.
were thrown together, and but it also adds to the story of the main event with Jay not being able to overcome the 1v5. Gee whiz, his boss is gonna be mad, but
Yep.
that plays into the main event at the end of the night, which I thought was really good.
You wouldn't want to work for Roman Reigns, would you? What's that? You alone could not take down 5 men by yourself?
Kick in the
I'm
dick.
sorry. Sorry, boss.
I'll do better
I just
next
like,
time.
yeah, because he was backstage when he lambasted him as well, and you just thought it's a bit harsh. Like he tried his best. What more do you want from the guy? Like it is what it is, man. I'm not going to give him too much stick for that. Like obviously everybody else did, but that's fine. Um, what was next? Sorry, I totally drifted and
Was
forgot.
it the
Oh
tag
yeah, of
match?
course. It was. It was the tag
Oh,
team match. Oh, this was. Oh, so I had earmarked this as the potential show stealer for a lot of ways, and I think on the men's side of things, it was one of my favourite matches. Definitely, it was very hard actually to pick the best match of the night because I thought every match delivered in what it was supposed to do.
oh, definitely did.
And even the match that nobody cared about, which was after this, the I think it was third on the card. No, yeah, third on the card, which of course was the Battle of the Mid Card Champions. Even that did what it was supposed to do. For me, I I love the dynamics here because there was no heels, and this was a big thing. You put your Yeah, that's fair. WrestlePlug's biggest fan. It might just be as I'm 25% deaf. That is true. She is 25% deaf. I can concur. Ultimately, you'd be deaf too if you were listening to me scream on this podcast on a regular basis. Um, Street Profits versus New Day for me. Two of the most wildly charismatic and exciting face tag teams in modern history. So, if there was one critique I might have had, or one fear, should I say, it would have been the dynamic that, oh Jesus Christ, if neither of them are playing heel, how do you try and root for it, or do you just sit back and try and enjoy it like your indie spectacular match? Both these teams, they delivered so well from a comedic standpoint, but also it was very, very impactful. And I also like the fact that there were slight edges of New Day heelism,
Hmm.
but more so because they were the veterans. So it was a case of, oh, you young Turks think you know everything, do you? You young street profits coming on our turf. And, I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but, a lot of people have said that there isn't enough black American representation in wrestling. This is a beautiful example and this is something that should be shown to people, not only of how good African American wrestlers are, but also the fact that they can be represented and put in very strong positions. And it's fantastic to see that even though tag team wrestling has taken a real backslide for me so often, particularly in WWE, but in other companies as well, as we've seen, at least they know what they're doing with who holds the belts. You can't really ask for better, especially with the Usos obviously being down to just one man and being involved in a different storyline entirely. It was really lovely to see that they were willing to put New Day on one side, Street Profits on the other. That's cool. That's your premium talent. So the match itself was kind of a dream match. The Street Profits won as well, which I think is fantastic. We both said
Good
on the
call.
prediction show they needed it a lot more. I'm really thrilled for this. I think this works. I really do. I think this worked all around for everybody, to be honest.
Yeah, that this match. Actually, before we even talk about the match, can we just talk about the Gears of War outfits for a
Oh, thank
second?
you. Thank you for reminding
Can
me.
can
I've
we
just
just
realised
bring
that.
that up? Because Big E did the entrance, like I missed that, and then he came out with them. Sure, they're on different brands, but I saw people complain that, oh, look, Big E's hanging out with a Raw team. The New Day's Brotherhood supersedes brand supremacy. Slick my ass. Like, fuck no. Fuck off. It's so cool to see those three together again, even if it was just for like the entrance. Like Big E wasn't ringside, he wasn't doing anything. He just came out and was just Big E. Like, what else can you say? He's brilliant. But they came out in their Gears outfits. Fucking Francesca, I popped when Tom Phillips referenced Francesca as the Lancer because that is the traditional Gears gun. I
Nerd
popped my
heaven.
tits off. Like, Tom Phillips, I don't know if you actually knew that, but it was cool to hear anyways. And then you just move on to the match. The New Day's kind of playing it up a little heelish. It's kind of like Rock and Hogan. It's kind of how I look at it because going into the match, Hogan was supposed to be the heel. NWO, boo, grr. But, Toronto, we love a nostalgia run. So they started cheering Hogan, and then The Rock started doing a little more heelish things. It's really good to see a veteran team do that on the fly, and we got a beautiful match out of it. I mean, these two are definitely the two best tag teams in the company right now, bar the Usos again because Jimmy's injured, but they're the perfect choice for champions. I think, I want to say this was definitely my favorite match of the night. I don't know if it would be
Hmm.
match of the night like overall, but it was
Yeah.
definitely my favorite because I just love these guys so much.
Yeah, it was one of those matches where even if it wasn't necessarily the best in terms of in-ring quality, it was always going to have an adverse and rather interesting effect on you as a wrestling fan, and you're obviously going to be invested because these are the two teams that entertain you like no other. Montez Ford, I reiterate this every single week, and I will continue to do so until someone realizes Montez Ford is legitimately for me WWE Champion material. I believe, or Universal Champion material. I believe that Montez Ford could be the marquee guy of this. I think he's got so much charisma, so much talent, so many facial expressions. His ability, he's just so likable, but completely infallible. Like he doesn't break under any circumstance. It's incredible. His in-ring style is insane. He's an incredible athlete. He's got the best frog splash I've ever seen. He's completely blown everybody else out of the water. That is just unfair. The kind of height and just there's a real palpable sense of he has something. You know, the it factor, not Bobby Roode, obviously from Impact, but just that general the X factor, shall we say? You know, something that The Rock had, something that Stone Cold had, something that every great icon of this sport has had, has always been that that palpable charisma, that kind of energy that you don't necessarily get from everybody, and he has that, and he's being built so well. And ironically enough, he's probably being built the right way because people aren't necessarily paying attention to the fact that he's a huge star because they're like, well, he's a tag team star, but he doesn't feel like the star. And because of that, he's flying under the radar a bit, and that might really benefit him later down the line if they decide to push him. The only downside, of course, if you're Vince McMahon, you're probably going, oh, he's not big enough. He needs more rides. But he's jacked. The guy's jacked. I think he's he's ridiculously good looking. He's got so much going on with him, and he's also got that really cool, real life, organic kind of angle. He's got obviously being married to Bianca Belair as well. They're an amazing couple, and that could really play in nicely when you get later down the line. You saw what they did with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. For me, Montez Ford and Bianca Belair will be able to handle that kind of role and
And better.
deliver it with much more entertainment. Yeah, much better. They would do it, and they would do it better.
I
Pretty
think
simple as that.
we also need to talk about Dawkins for a second because I think he's also pretty underrated. Like his in ring work is getting so much better. When he hit like that double underhook and then like twisted it into the neck breaker, I'm like, I didn't know he could do that. I thought he was just a big dude. Like he's getting like because we all love Montez Ford so much. I think people just forget that Dawkins is he's good. Like his hot tag is probably one of the best in WWE right now. I love it when Ford's getting the shit kicked out of him, and then he leaps 12,000 feet across the ring to hit that tag, and Dawkins comes in and cleans house. It's brilliant. And after the match, they had hugged it out and shows of respect and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna hammer it down. This was definitely my match of the night. I loved it from beginning to end, from gears to like hugging each other. I loved it. I nerded it real hard.
I must admit, because I've not really played Gears of War much until I played 1 to 3 pretty religiously, and then after that I drifted away from the franchise. But I know what Gears of War is, and when they came out, there was a split second where I was like, why do they look like giant Master Chiefs? And then I thought, wait a minute, and then I saw the gear, and I was just like, that's sick. And they've been doing this, haven't they? Remember the giant cereal box? They've come out as
They
I
came
don't
out
want
from
to butcher
Saiyans
it.
from Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z was what I was looking for. Anime, it's
Yep,
not my strong suit. I
I
have to
got
be
you.
honest. Yeah, he's Kyle will cover the anime portion of this podcast. Yeah, no, they're just untouchable in terms of charisma and how amazing you would have thought, right, when New Day came in, and especially when they blew up and became as big as they are and became such an incredible representation all the way to WrestleMania when Kofi became WWE champion. You never would have thought within a year that WWE would already have pretty much the same level of strength in another faction slash tag team like they have with the Street Profits. It's insane to have two sets of people, two sets, because obviously I don't want to, disclude Big E. It's insane to think, holy shit, you've got two teams with the same palpable charisma, with the same star power, with the same ability to sell merchandise, to sell promos. That's phenomenal. Honestly, I can't speak highly enough about everyone involved. They're an incredible tribute not only to wrestling, to African American wrestling, to their heritage, their tradition, their style, their charisma. Every single man involved, all 5 of them, deserves a lot of love and a lot of respect. And hopefully, it's just going to keep rising. The only way is up, really, especially if you're the Street Profits. I know the New Day have kind of had their thing, but 8-time tag team champions, they don't seem to be slowing down. And finally, as well, they put on those big augmented reality graphics during the entrance. I really do love the one where Big E's holding like all eight all 8 tag belts.
Hmm.
I think that's cool. Little things like that. They are so good because they can make me laugh, but they can make a kid laugh. That's a big deal when you can cover all the demographics. Anyone can watch New Day or Street Profits and get a kick out of what they do. And I've heard people saying, yeah, they are a little bit over the top. Wrestling, mate. The very term over the top is very important to wrestling, not just the Royal Rumble or Battle Royals or whatever. I love it. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Something that I kind of shit on a little bit and thought whatever is the battle of the mid card belts, or mid card champion, so to speak. United States champion Bobby Lashley, Intercontinental champion Sami Zayn. Actually, considering that they kind of dressed it up a little bit as a squash match, because the whole idea was Sami Zayn was shit talking, and then ultimately he got his ass bitten by the beast of a man that is Bobby Lashley. They delivered so well. Like the storyline, I love Corey Graves as well, insistently hammering home the conspiracy theories. I thought that was what kind of helped sell it to me, because the commentary team, there was bickering between them, because he's like, this is unfair, Sami Zayn, this is conspiracy against Sami Zayn. Why does Sami Zayn have to take all this abuse? On the flip side, even though the Hurt Business are kind of heels, you wanted to see them whip his ass. So it was kind of like, it was kind of semi-face for Bobby Lashley in this position. But I actually really liked this because it didn't go on too long, and yet it provided good entertainment. There was some good wrestling in there. And also, you got to see what you kind of wanted to see, which was the mouthy little shitbag from Canada get his mouth shut up. So, I think it worked on a lot of levels, especially as it was a. This is how you do the throwaway mid card well. Okay, if you're gonna have throwaway matches in the middle, do them well. Not like the last pay per view. Remember the last pay per view? We had like 3 matches. It was like, who cares? I think they had like Slapjack versus someone. You're like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I really don't care. You've not given me any emotional investment. With this, these two guys have actually worked really hard, particularly on social media, considering they haven't had much TV time to get this over. And I thought they delivered a good match.
I think we could always depend on Sammy to do good matches because he is such a skilled performer and he could make Lashley look like $1,000,000. I mean, that's no shot at Bobby Lashley either. He's an incredible wrestler. He's an incredible performer. It's like he was chiseled out of granite by Michelangelo himself.
What,
Like,
the turtle?
actually, yeah.
Sorry. Such a mark.
No,
Such a
dude,
mark for
Ninja
the turtle.
Turtles, great. But that's exactly the thing. Like Lashley just beat up Sami Zayn. They had the matches before with the whole sister thing, and let's not talk about that because it hurts all of us. But the matches then, like I don't think we looked at them in a positive light because of how stupid the build was. But I think the matches then were just as good as the match last night. It did exactly what it needed to do, is just make Lashley look like more of a dominant monster. It makes Sami Zayn look all talk, which, to be honest, like he is. Like he won that incredible ladder match to regain the IC title, which is fine. But do any of us really believe Sami had a chance in hell of winning that match? Really? Anyone? Anyone with a IQ?
Only with shenanigans, and particularly with a Hurt Business, as soon as you knew they were going to be at ringside, not a chance.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen. So, Lashley wins. Hurt Business celebrate. Sammy's just going to go back to SmackDown, and I mean, it's not like he's going to be hurt from the loss because all Sami Zayn does is lose anyway. So it's not like it even fucking matters.
Yeah, very true, very true. I'd like to talk about it more, but I want to talk about the women. We love women's wrestling here. For anyone who may be joining us or watching the stream back, because I know not many people are checking in right now, and that's absolutely fine too, because I didn't really advertise it, although I have just stuck a tweet out, so you never know. We love women's wrestling. Sasha Banks versus Asuka. It doesn't really get much better. If you think about uh, if you think about the strongest women's workers, okay, and the women who carry and cover pretty much every angle that you'd want to be superstars, you can't really look past these two. On Raw, it's got to be Asuka. She's the MVP of Raw, as far as I'm concerned. She has carried that format for a long time while they were trying to figure out what they would do with everyone else. On the flip side, Sasha Banks, I know she's only recently arrived on SmackDown, but of course she'd spent quite a bit of time there with Bayley, and obviously when they had their implosion. So both of them feel like big time stars here. And I love the storyline coming in of Sasha Banks has finally, retained her belt. She's had a successful title defense, which is something she'd never had. But coming into this, what's she going to do against someone of this quality, and also somebody who has beaten her before? Don't forget, it was Asuka who dethroned her for this Raw Women's Championship. And obviously they kind of volleyed it around a little bit, and it kind of reinforced the Sasha Banks storyline and the narrative of, she can win it, but she can't really look after it. I thought this was fucking awesome. The quality, and not only that, the speed and the impact of everything they did. They just came flying out the gate. They were hitting each other. Their transitions were so like, I bet Daniel Bryan was like backstage going, "Oh my fucking god, that's such a good transition." I would just be like, "Oh my god, that's so sick!" Like so many times the transitions and the roll-ups. Now, if there's one thing I could critique certain women's wrestling for, particularly the lower end of stuff, and particularly on other brands where they don't give a shit. The one thing I would critique is that the women's wrestling can be quite botchy. They have a lot of mistakes, particularly if they haven't got good chemistry in the ring. Something that WWE has done an amazing job of is making sure that the women understand how to have good in-ring chemistry. You don't have, shall we say, women laying an egg, for lack of a better term, do you? You don't have these kind of really, where you watch a match and think, oh my god, there's a lot of botches in that. Like, and this was so fluid. I don't recall there being a really legitimate mistake, and if there was, they covered it well. It was so fluid, it was so physical. Sasha Banks picks up the win. I believe you had Sasha Banks in the predictions. I believe I went out on a limb and picked Asuka. But as soon as this match started, and I heard what they were pushing on commentary, I thought, this is going to bite me in the ass. Because the whole thing was, oh, Sasha Banks can't beat Asuka. I was like, oh, shit, she's going to win now. There goes my
That's
prediction.
dude, that's a caster curse. That's just how it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
But
it
I
is.
mean,
It absolutely is.
I might have picked Sasha, but I was still surprised when it happened. But the match pace was so frantic. They were just beating the
There was no
absolute
rest break here.
yeah,
No rest.
no fucking like headlocks or rest holds or anything. They just went hell for leather the entire time, and you know these two women can do that because sure we've seen them wrestle a lot over the summer and into the fall, but I don't think we're complaining because the matches were never bad. Sure, they might have had like shit endings or something, like a screwy finish, but the match itself, all of them have never been bad because it's Asuka and Sasha Banks. How is that even possible? I don't think they could have a bad match with each other if they tried. And they just tore the house down. Sasha gets the win, which is, I think, still really good because, she just retained her belt for the first time ever. She beat someone she's never beaten before. She's riding this incredible wave of momentum. And, she'll be going up against Carmella next, I assume, because, Carmella's done a few sneak attacks. I mean, I don't think Carmella's a poor wrestler, but I definitely think Sasha's going to make her look so much better, and that's just a testament to how well she works.
Yeah, there was just something really awesome about this. It just felt really big stream, mainstream, main event. It had that feeling, and you can't always say that about a lot of wrestling matches, and particularly women's matches until the modern era. But for me, this is example 1A of why women's wrestling should be taken as seriously as it does, and also what happens when you put women in a prominent position. I'm not going to make this, about anti AEW and stuff, but come on, watch that, right? Like how AEW hasn't watched that and thought, holy shit, we should be at that level. I'm not expecting you to necessarily mimic that level because it's quite early, but when WWE's putting that out there, and then AEW puts out this pathetic, paltry example of what they think women's wrestling should be, I can't help but feel disappointed in what AEW is doing, and yet still be so incredibly overwhelmed by what WWE are doing. We talk a lot. We do as well. We're not massive WWE marks. If they do something shitty, we'll say so. And everyone talks a lot about how, Vince McMahon this, WWE did this, WWE does something shitty. We have to stop and acknowledge that they are doing a better job than anyone else in the world of promoting women's wrestling and putting on the best women's wrestling with the best women's storylines and best women's programs. It's not completely infallible. There's still some mistakes, a couple of things I didn't like a little bit later on, but ultimately this was a shining example, and also it really helps boost Sasha Banks as well. Losing to Sasha Banks for Asuka doesn't destroy her because she can still go back to Raw and make a good impression. Same with obviously the main event, but from Sasha's perspective, having that big marquee win, knowing that you're the best of the best, that really drives her on because until they renew the program with Bayley on SmackDown, it will feel a little bit like some of her contenders are a bit underwhelming. So, right now, because obviously it's Carmella, I don't have a problem with Carmella. She's beautiful, she's got a great look, and I'm sure she can deliver a good match in time. But, I do feel that when you look at the prospects and people available, they should have no problem, but most of them seem to be in this kind of tag team cluster muck. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Like for me, I'd like to see Liv Morgan be pushed on. I think she deserves the push, and particularly after seeing how well she did last night. But yeah, amazing match, really is. Like these are the kind of matches that if you aren't necessarily a big fan of women's wrestling, or you're kind of on the fence, this is your best opportunity to do so. Um, so yeah, ultimately, a good match. Now then. uh, Back-to-back women's matches. Bit of a surprise. So
Called it.
the
Called it.
anyway, you did, and do you know what?
It
I
didn't
wish
happen
you
the way I
called it.
thought it would.
Yeah, and that's why I'm pissed off because I honestly think your way would have worked so much better. What annoyed me is she won without doing anything.
Yep.
That really frustrates me. Now, obviously, she gets in the ring early when she's not supposed to, and she gets a little bit frisky, and you think, oh dear. And then they all like yelling at her and abusing, even though she was doing quite well. And there's been a real push, hasn't it? I don't know if you've seen the Chronicle that's dropped for her. There was a
I
video
haven't
going
watched. I've
around.
seen clips, but I haven't watched it in full yet. But
So,
it
like,
seems really
yeah,
powerful.
well, there's a lot of content on there about having to deal with being an outcast, being bullied, social media issues, and things like that. And obviously, that's lovely. And, you know, I really want her to thrive. And I actually think that there are moments, particularly at the beginning of this match, where you thought, you're alright. You can actually work to a certain degree. You're not nearly as terrible as you used to be. You know, you can take better bumps, particularly through the announce table, which is fair. You know, she's got a good working. I like her kicks as well. She's a legitimate kickboxer. She's very flexible. She's obviously ridiculously good looking, which, you know, I know that's not a big deal to me, but, you know, when you're trying to present something on TV that's super shiny and super entertaining, I mean, all the women are beautiful. It's not like you're like, ugh, what's happened here? Like, everyone's beautiful when they, you know, wrestle for WWE. Even Otis. Oh, what a specimen. Oh, a joy. By the way, I didn't mention the fact that I fucking went crazy for Otis during the
Oh yeah,
Survivor Series match. Just the way he was, the way Keith Lee was looking at him when he was like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah," he was like humping, and Keith Lee's like, "What is that?" He's just like highly offended. He was like, "That's the white version of me. That is unacceptable." I just thought it was really good. I really like Keith Lee's facials, and everyone's like, even Seth Rollins was like, "Okay." Yeah, I don't know
that must
what
be
the
it.
fuck
It's
you
not
are.
Becky giving birth soon. Seth was like, "Man, oh, this look gross." He just gets down, kick me now, so I can leave.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not going to have this man thrust in my face any longer. You will eliminate me, large Irishman, and you will do it now.
Fireface, kick me.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, I, I really liked Lana's interactions early. Then the match kind of got a little bit too sports entertaining for my liking in
Mm,
places. I thought the match was fine. I did enjoy it. Okay, there was not a single match on this card where I thought, well, that was shit. I don't want to watch that again. I'd happily watch all of these matches again. But for me, there was such a push for, you know, we have to get over the fact that Nia Jax doesn't like. We get it, okay?
I
Talk
think 9
about
weeks of an
beating a
announce
dead
table. You
horse.
get it.
Yeah, like she's put her through it like what, 9 straight weeks, eight
I
straight
think so. Yeah.
weeks. Like, you know, we get that she doesn't like her, and then literally throughout the whole match, you don't get in the ring, get out of the ring. What are you doing? Just abusing her non-stop. And I was like, I get it, what you're trying to do. I already feel sympathy for her. You don't have to keep piling on because then it goes the other way and it feels a bit forced. Um, I just I just wish when it came to the ending, she had at least rolled somebody up. You know, it didn't have to be a big deal, but it just needed to be something. You know, like just a little thing. The fact that so she gets relegated to the steps for anyone who may not have seen it, and obviously if you're watching this, of course you've seen it. She gets relegated to the steps, okay, and you know that's the thing. Cameron Anderson, by the way, says he loves Sasha Banks.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, you do.
My boy.
Yeah, you do. Who doesn't like Sasha Banks? And not just because she's redonkulous, she's also an incredible worker. By the way, Sasha Banks is a better wrestler in every sense than anybody AEW has. I fucking said it. I am tired of seeing people put up these fucking memes and tweets about Kenny Omega's better than Sasha Banks. Really? Is he really?
Is he
No,
though?
he's not. Is he though? Is he? Shut up. Ultimately, just shut up. Um, I think that Sasha Banks is obviously amazing, but anyway, we're talking about the other women. Sorry about that. I just got
God damn
completely
it, Cam.
derailed. It's live. It's live. God damn it. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Um, I just wish she got a roll up or something. The end of the match is fine. I get it. By the way, Bianca Belair, for all those people saying that she doesn't get used enough, she looked like the star here. You know, she was the sole survivor of the SmackDown team until she gets counted out. Bit of a shitty way to lose the match. I get what you're trying to do. It's a case of, oh, well, we can obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if someone had said in creative, how about Lana kicks somebody in the back of the head and rolls them up at the end, completely like unaware, and they were like, no, 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 we can't sacrifice anyone's strength, because obviously you don't want Bianca Belair getting rolled up by Lana. But there are other women who could have possibly taken that hit and not lost out too much for it.
Like
And
Natalia, who had a awkward little botchy moment with Peyton Royce at one point.
yeah, so
But
like that was kind of the flip side of my argument earlier. Whereas Sasha Banks and Asuka were so smooth because they're at the height of their profession, there were a few botches in this, and there was, I don't know why, there was a running theme of people missing kicks a lot. I saw 4 or 5 different points. There was a super kick that was completely missed. AJ Styles' opening drop kick missed by about a foot. Like, it just, and these things happen, you know. And but of course, by this point, I thought, please don't botch too much. And then they started doing it. I was like, oh god damn it. But I still think this was an entertaining match.
It
I think all
was.
the women involved. Can we just say, I think Lacey Evans gets a really fucking short end of the stick. She can work. She's hot as balls. She's physical. That's something else I like about her. She's built well. You know, what is the hatred for Lacey Evans? I don't get it. Lacey Evans is good. She does good work. She gets natural heat. People are like, I hate the gimmick. Why? Why would you hate the gimmick? Her gimmick is that she's a proper woman. That she believes that it's okay to cook dinner for your man, but yet still go to the ring and punch you in the mouth. A woman's right. It seems so easy. This is another gimmick where I feel if we were maybe 10, 15 years ago, like Lacey Evans would have been so over in the Attitude Era. So over. Like, as a heel. People would have fucking despised her. The idea of a woman daring to stand. She would have been a massive face, actually, because of the dynamics that go with it. I like Lacey Evans. I think she's wildly underappreciated, as is Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, who, by the way, look redonkulous. I love the gear. It's so nice to see a tag team that look similar. Same kind of gear, same kind of mentality. Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. You got to put the belts on those guys soon. You've got to. Absolutely. They're so good. Liv Morgan is a mega... obviously, I am crushing hard on Liv Morgan. She's so cool. She's so fucking fit. Everything else in between, we all know that. But ultimately, it's the look, it's the style. She's got champion written all over her. Push her. You were kind of doing it, and then you pulled back on it. Disappointing. But the storyline ultimately comes down to the fact that Lana wins by staying on steel steps and not actually doing anything, and then celebrating and going, I won! Me! I won! Which makes her come across as a bit disingenuous, which is disappointing. And on the flip side of things, you know, like I say, she won without literally doing a thing. And that just doesn't, for me, that doesn't make you think, oh, good for you, I sympathise with you. No. She should have had some sort of offense. She should have had that flurry of offense at the end of the match. And that should have been what helped her win. And then we would have been like, yes, get in there, Lana. Instead, we're sitting there thinking, yeah, but you didn't do fuck all. You know, I don't care that you were bullied, because you didn't rise up to your bullies. You did as you were told, and yet still came out on top. That's a terrible message to send to fans.
That's a poor story to tell, especially to young girls, because like we all remember being young. You know, we're both guys. We got bullied, but I think girls are a lot meaner to each other than guys are. Like, you know, if you had a problem with another guy, you just walk up and punch him in the face. But girls are just
Well,
girls are vicious, man. They'll like remember something from 8 years ago, and you're like, wait, what? Like they're so mean. And we remember the Alexa and Nia storyline from like Alexa being a bully, and you know Nia got the weight over her bully. Great. Now Nia's the bully, and Lana just sits there and goes, okay, and just stands on the stairs like a scolded dog. That doesn't, like you say, garner any sympathy for her. It just kind of makes her look a little dumb. I think maybe almost useless because yeah, sure you won. You're the sole survivor of a match, but you didn't throw a kick. You didn't take a bump. All you did was stand there. The other person gets counted out, and the ref goes, "Soul," or then the announcer goes, "Sole survivor, Lana," and she's like, "Oh my god!" Like, what does that do for you? I understand, you know, Vince is trying to push her as a face or whatever, like get sympathy, but I don't think a lot of people will see it like that for this. They'll be like, she was just opportunistic, quote unquote, because she actually did jack shit. This doesn't do anything for her. She's still in the same spot she was in last week. Sure, she has another tick in the win column, but she's probably just going to be put through the table tonight anyway. The fuck did it do? What did it do?
yeah, I mean, I am sitting here thinking, what are you going to do with this? She's not theoretically, she's not going to be women's champion, right? That would just be ridiculous. Like, I don't mind. She had a reasonably competitive time with Asuka for about 2 minutes, didn't she, on Raw a couple of weeks ago, and then she just got wiped out. And for me, I think she's fine as kind of like an under talent. Like, you know, if you're going to have her be. By the way, I love Nia Jax. Everyone knows that. I'm one of the few people who actually likes her. However, during this match, the consistency or lack thereof of her wrestling pissed me off. Because at some points, she was taking off, like, you know, Bailey kicks the shit out of her and knocks her out of the ring. But then she comes back later and she's like, oh, your punches don't mean anything to me. I'm now all of a sudden Superwoman. And it's like, pick one, okay? If you're going to book her as a monster, which I have no problem with you doing, stick with it. Don't be like, ah, yes, but we also need the monster to take a load of offense and get knocked out randomly. It's like, you know, Liv Morgan, at one point, Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott are like clocking her with all kinds of forearms and stuff, and she's literally not even flinching. But then they eventually knock her down. You're like, either it works or it doesn't. You can't turn it on and off when you please. And it really knocked out my sense of, I know it's a work, okay? But at the same time, I am a mark, and I suspend my disbelief. And I like to think that I'm watching a fight, whether it be a choreographed one or not. I enjoy it for what it is, and then I see things like that, and I think, oh, that's so evidently fake, for lack of a better word. I know people are going to be like, you can't use the F word. Fuck you. I know all about wrestling. Trust me, I've fucking trained enough to take the abuse. I know what is and isn't fake. Some things aren't fake. Some things are, and that is when you make it look that fucking obvious. That pisses me off. But it, you know, that was a small critique for me. But like you say, what the fuck are you going to do with Lana from here? I just feel that they missed it by about that much. They had a really close opportunity there, and they didn't take it, and that's a shame. The main event, baby. Meaty Hoss time. Drew McIntyre, your WWE champion, faces Roman Reigns. Did you know that he's the head of the table? That's going to get real old real quick at this rate. The tribal chief. Oh, especially when Michael Cole's calling it. I was like, oh, shut up, Michael Cole. Who, by the way, is insufferable. He's such a little prick. I just, honestly, I cannot sit there and listen to him. He gives me a feckin' headache, that geezer. He really does. But this was a titanic clash, and it felt like it. I'm glad that they ultimately went with Drew coming into
Oh,
this match
100%.
over Randy Orton. I didn't know whether that was the right move. I was kind of, even though I want Drew to be champion over Randy Orton, I thought, oh, that feels a bit cheap. You've given this, oh, I don't know how I feel. And then I saw them staring each other down. And Paul Heyman's glaring at him like, you cost me my last climb, bro. I was like, oh my god, I'm so ready for this. I was just like, oh yeah, fucking horses are gonna kill each other. God damn it. I was like so excited. And it delivered. This was fantastic. And Roman Reigns is on fire. And he's on fire the way he was supposed to be on fire. He is by far and away the most compelling and annoying shithouse heel in the company, because you love him, but you also think, you fucking dick, oh, you fucking low blow Drew, fuck you, oh, stop treating Jay like shit, fuck you. I actually sit there as a complete mark and think, you're a fucking asshole, like Drew McIntyre kicked your fucking end. And then I realise, bing, you're doing your job. That's what you're meant to do. You are doing your job perfectly. You are the best heel in this company. Bravo. This is masterful. This is main event Roman Reigns. This is what we want. This is what people will pay money to see. Can you imagine if there had been an audience for this with that stare down? They would have been going fucking apeshit. Dual chants back and forth for the brands, for their particular stars. Because Roman Reigns is always going to have a big backing because he's fucking gloriously good looking. He's like Jason Momoa, but a bit more rough around the edges. He's like Jippo Momoa. You know, everything works. It just works. And he has delivered so well. And this match delivered. I don't know how to really explain how much I enjoyed this match. This felt like a main event. It may not have personally been my favourite match because I'm so attached to other people, but this felt like the main event. This belonged at the top of the marquee, and it delivered in the way it should have. This was a titanic clash between two meaty hosses, and I like the fact that Roman Reigns only got the win because of not only outside interference, but also a cheeky low blow. I do think he's overusing the low blow quite a lot, which is annoying me a little bit. That's a tiny nitpick. This is as close to a 5-star main event as WWE will have, I think, in the modern era. I thought this was blockbuster, mate. I really did. This felt like a high-level marquee main event.
Oh, absolutely it did. And if not for, what followed this, what Survivor Series was built around this year, like this would have been a Like the shot of him and Jay at the top of the ramp, like embracing, would have been a perfect way to actually just end the show. But of course, we have, this thing's been built around the Undertaker, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I mean, to be fair, the Undertaker is the only thing that could have followed this because it was so good. Like it felt big. It felt like this is the main event. And Drew's entrance is badass now. He comes out with the kilt, the claymore, putting it down, fucking fire everywhere. Roman coming down like the silent badass that he is. These two beat 10 pounds of shit out of each other. I mean, I saw how many like counters from claymores and spears and stuff did we see? Like, there was one when Roman's going for the spear and Drew just like jumps and catches him in a headlock and like Juno tosses him over. I'm like, these two work so well together. Was it a technical masterpiece? God no. These guys aren't technical guys. They're 6'4", 265, and they're just gonna slap each other raw. And you guys can take that however you like because I pictured something I didn't realize I needed, but there it is. But these two guys, they are the best of the best. Sure, Roman might have won, whatever, but they're the best. They are the WWE champion and the Universal champion, and I care about the Universal Championship now. I haven't cared about it since Kevin Owens back in 2017 because Brock had it or Goldberg had it.
What about Braun's Universal Champion, mate?
Oh, sorry. No, I'd rather drink bleach.
God damn it.
Nope. But like this, that's the thing. Roman is making the Universal title a thing. He's making it comparable to the WWE Championship. The belt's only 4 years old. Let's not forget, like it was only made after the brand split in 2016, but it's got a very checkered past because of the booking decisions behind it. Now you have.
Really did ruin it.
I know, dick. But Roman is on the run of his career. He's got Paul Heyman, which he doesn't even need at this point. I think it was a lot of shock value at the start, but now it's just kind of he's there. We don't know what else to use Paul for. Just keep going. Do that, I guess. And the Universal Championship is important, and that's such a testament to how good Roman is at being just such a dick. He's such a dick. But now he's going to be. I don't know who his next challenger is going to be. Like going into TLC and Royal Rumbles in about 2 months. I don't know. I mean, Daniel Bryan could do it. Like if we're just thinking about prospective challengers, Daniel Bryan could do it.
Yeah, good transitional guy to sit in the gap.
Yeah, I'd like to see even KO get a shot. I think KO and Roman would have a lot of fun matches because they did when KO was Universal Champion.
Yeah, and United States champion as well. I believe they had a little bit of banter over that as well. Yeah, no, Kevin, that's the great thing that SmackDown does have. I get why people like SmackDown more because they've got the mid card guys who can really fill that gap. Because I'm assuming Seth Rollins is going to be stepping away soon and having a break, so he's not really going to be available as much. But like you say, Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan can fill any gap and fill it nicely. They're perfect guys to put in there. And to be honest, they're great because they're guys who could legitimately win the belt, but they're also guys who can just step in there and be job guys, for lack of a better.
Yeah, and I mean, I again don't know who. Just talking about challengers now, I'm not sure who can challenge Drew right now. I don't want to see Orton again. I don't. They've traded it now. I think that's it.
A TLC again. That's what I'm thinking. It might be the Fiend though. You don't know. I genuinely think they still want the Brock Lesnar angle, like the sort of Brock Lesnar coming back a year removed from getting battered at WrestleMania and retaking his throne. Whether people like that or not doesn't really matter if it draws money, does it? It might not be appealing to the majority of wrestling fans, but Brock Lesnar coming back. I mean, for anyone watching, who do you think Drew McIntyre should face next? Who do you think Roman Reigns should face next? Let us know in the comments below, because ultimately, just because we're live doesn't mean you can't talk about it after the fact. And obviously, we can mention it on our next State of Wrestling address as well. By the way, I would like to give a shout out to Jason, who watched our Survivor Series predictions, and he came up with a really good idea. He thought that he could see Miz cashing in this main event. I am a little bit surprised we didn't see a cash in. I thought that might have been the perfect time to do it. Roman Reigns, Dex, Drew McIntyre, so obviously they're going to hold on to that for now. That's fine, I suppose. You never know. He might try it at WrestleMania. We don't know. But I must admit, especially as Miz had won that match earlier in the night, you thought, foreshadowing. But maybe that's what they were trying to do. Get us to think, oh, maybe the Miz is going to cash in. But I thought Jason deserved a shout because it was a really good idea. He's a first time kind of watcher. He hasn't been on board with us nearly as much, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because it's always lovely to have new fans along with the amazing old ones that are still with us. And yeah, good shout, Jace. To be honest, really, really good effort, mate. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, great main event, man. Fantastic. Drew McIntyre for me, this I like the ending because it means that he doesn't come off too soft. You know, he lost the Titanic Clash, but he lost it because of some nonsense. And his facials are so good when he's sitting on that apron and he's like, and he knows what's happened. He knows that he's been super kicked. He knows that he's been low blowed. It all just works so well. And also, it protected the Claymore quite well because he was out. You know, he could have pinned Roman Reigns. You got to say, WWE are fucking killing it right now, particularly in the main event when it comes to booking. They are really doing great. Oh, Jason's just sent in a comment. I think the Raw team should have a 5-way elimination match tonight on Raw for the number one contendership for the WWE Championship as a reward for all of them surviving last night.
I
Then
like
the win
that.
means more.
I like
What?
that.
Can we get this guy booking AEW? Because then they might actually be far more exciting to watch at times.
That
At least their women's division.
that
Genius
actually
idea.
reminds me. Yeah, I think that's a callback. Do you remember when the team, I think it was like Maven, Benoit, Orton, and
2004 Survivor Series.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm such a
and
nerd.
they all
The reason I know
I,
that is because we covered it for Manic Mondays. By the way, actually, you guys can check that out on our YouTube channel because I'll make all of our Manic Mondays podcasts from 2004 available. Manic
oh, you
Mondays
guys
is
are gonna get
our
spoiled there.
it's our retro podcast where we cover old school reviews. Myself and Steve Neal, my original co-host, who is doing very well as a father. Shout out to you, Steve, if you somehow find this stream. Yeah, no, it's that's quite a cool thing. But yeah, no, you bang on there. I love that idea for Jason. That's such a good idea because when you think about it, they should be rewarded. And like you say, it will mean more in the long run because I really like the build up to that stuff. Oh, that's such a good idea. I even like a scramble match or an elimination match, whatever it says. Like, I like your idea, the elimination match, but I just think that's cool. I think that's a bang on idea. Like I say, we'll get this boy booking AEW because he'll do a hell of a lot better than Mr. Omega. So you know, it is what it is. But I love this main event, man. I really did. I really enjoyed Drew. I really enjoyed Roman Reigns. I hate him, but I love him now. Roman Reigns is doing what he's supposed to do. Bravo, sir. Finally, to wrap it all up, of course, is the emotional farewell of the Undertaker. I mean, what do you say? Like, I think we should do
What
a
can you
tribute to
say?
him. I think we'll do a tribute podcast to him where we just talk about all our favourite moments and stuff, and you know, because he's worthy of that. You know, I know nobody really gives a shit what we have to say, but I'm very blessed that I've seen the Undertaker wrestle in person a few times, and I'm grateful for that because I probably will never get the opportunity now unless something very scary. I'd like to say, you know, never say never and all that nonsense, but I really hope this is it because it just it just feels right. My only critique is not a critique so much as it is, and I actually watched this with my partner. Um, Thanks for the shout out, guys. Always a pleasure, Jason. Thank you very much for watching, man. Mad love to you. Um, for me, I just wish it had been in front of the fans. You know, in front of a big
Yeah.
live audience. You know, that would have really capped it off. And even my partner, who's not into wrestling at all, she comes and watches me wrestle, bless her heart. Even she said that, you know, can you imagine how good this would have been with the fans there? And it deserves that. It does. I really love the electric Tesla coil kind of thing that was going off. Pretty sick. You know, playing his music a bit differently. They really ramped up the production. I dread to think how much the electric bill was for this alone. But it's worth it, obviously. It was very weird, though, because they brought all those legends out, didn't they? And then they never really did anything. They all then
No,
just
they were just
disappeared.
yeah. Like I didn't even see them on the outside. They were just
No.
gone.
I thought there was going to be like a big kind of. You remember when Ric Flair got the send off? And they had them all in the ring, and Undertaker bowed to him, and a lot of that was after the fact. And maybe we're going to see an extra thing come out. Maybe they'll drop that. I imagine they've probably got like a Chronicle or a WWE 24 just for this, which is absolutely fine too. But yeah, it was emotional. It was beautiful. Undertaker's been a part of my life, and I'm sure yours as well, pretty much my entire life. You know,
I mean, he
Undertaker
started
debuted when I was
wrestling before I
5.
was born. He started wrestling November
All right.
22nd, 1990. I wasn't
Fucking
born until
old
April
man
1991.
Wilkinson. Just,
Like,
yeah, fucking swinging his
so,
young dick around here.
so
Fuck
I,
off.
I grew. The Undertaker was my dad's favorite wrestler because my dad watched a lot when we were younger. Kind of fell out of it, kind of Attitude Era because it just wasn't the same as the golden age. Whatever, that's fine. But my dad took me to my first wrestling event here in town. Like, it was just a SmackDown house show, but I got to see the Undertaker in my little fucking neck of the woods. Like, I got to see this larger than life guy, and that's one of my most cherished memories with me and my dad, which is why the Undertaker means so much to me, and he just means so much to anyone who's a wrestling fan. You don't have to be a WWE fan. You don't have to like WWE or anything like that, but when someone says the Undertaker, you know who it is. You understand the respect that name commands because it deserves it. He is he no one will ever be able to do what Mark Calloway has done. People are going to try and they're going to fail because this guy is a one of a kind man, a one of a kind character, and it can never be redone and it shouldn't.
Yeah. It's difficult for me to really. How do you sum up a 30-year career like that in this segment? And I won't, because I feel like he's worthy of more than that. I want to give a shout out to our boys at Hardest Part of the Ring. They're friends of ours, particularly myself. They're a Brighton-based podcast, which is not too far away actually from where I'm living at the moment. And they are doing a thing called The Undertaking. So if you check them out, Hardest Part of the Ring, search for it. I can't believe I'm plugging a different podcast than mine, but it is what it is. Um, they do really well. And they're doing something called The Undertaking, where they're covering every single one of his pay-per-view matches in a podcast format. It's only an audio, but it's fantastic to listen to. And if you're a big Undertaker fan and you want to go back along through retrospect, it's really cool because they do it like once every 2 or 3 weeks, I think. And the cool thing about that is it gives you time to sit down, watch them, rethink the memories, rekindle them, or even if you're a brand new fan, go back and see what all the hype was about. And these guys are really cool as well. I like to think of them as the lounge version of Wrestle Plug. If you want something a bit more chill, welcome to a Wrestle Plug after midnight with the hardest part of the ring. It works perfectly. Now I've got the mic, I can actually do that impression. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's hard for me to say really what I think. Obviously, I'd love to know what you guys think. Feel free to leave them in the comments. Leave any tributes you have. Send them to our social media at WrestlePlug, which hopefully you can see on the screen right now. Should be down here. I'm thinking down here. Down where? Down there. But yeah, sorry about that mic feedback. Yeah, just let us know. Kyle, is your phone near your microphone?
No, no, it's
Oh, okay.
way
I
gone.
don't know. Sounds like we had some weird mobile interference there. I do apologise for that. It might be my phone, in which case I apologise. Um,
We're still learning. We're kind
we're
of.
still we're fresh. We're fresh. We'll be fine. You wait till we start live streaming actual wrestling. That's going to be a big problem. But yeah. Ultimately, I don't really know how to sum it up. I'm just thankful that not only did I get to see him live, but he was such an integral part of who I was as a human being. Even now, for anyone who's seen me wrestle, and I'm not going to sit here and claim to be a good wrestler because I don't think I am, and I've only had a few fledgling matches. I've worked for 3 different indie promotions. But even if you go back and see any of my footage that is out there somewhere, you could. I've pretty much adopted his striking method, the way I throw hands and open up the hand very late at the end. It's that's because of him. You know, I just watched him year on out. When I was young, I used to like wearing a bandana. I love Limp Bizkit anyway because I was edgy and a
Word.
teenager, and that was I was part of the Linkin Park era. I was a Linkin Park child. I was a Limp Bizkit child. I was new metal, everything, and I still listen to it now and still enjoy it to a certain extent. Although I'd like to think I'm mellowing out, although everyone around me will totally disagree, including people watching the stream. And for me, everything that he did in some way influenced my life, even if I didn't actually take it. He was always a great influence to me, and I said this to my partner earlier, and I think this rings true, and this is where I'll leave it. Undertaker is the one guy that I know of that has never done anything to wrong anybody in the business. All he's ever done is give his soul, his heart, his passion, his spirit, and his body, and his life, pretty much his entire adult life, not only to that character, but to the business. And he's never, ever asked for anything in return. What more could you possibly ask? He is the perfect guy. The only other guy who comes close to that in terms of their credibility and respect is Sting. And at one point, it was Sting on one side, it was Undertaker on the other. They were the cornerstones, they were the franchise players. And even though they weren't necessarily always in the main event, or arguably never really the marquee guys of their companies, they were always loyal and they always gave so much to this business. And even at such a late age, both of them could still go better than the majority of guys half their age. I'm very thankful that I got to see him live in person, and to be honest, very thankful that I got to experience that moment. I just wish it had been in front of fans, but I'm sure when the Hall of Fame comes around, when they eventually do that, when COVID decides to go fuck itself, which hopefully will be soon, I hope that there's going to be opportunities there for him to at least, kind of live in the moment with the fans a little bit. Even if he's never going to wrestle again, which is fine by me, it would be nice to see him out there, in front of the fans. Even if it's just to say, hey, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to you guys in person, so here I am just to say thank you for everything. It was a cool moment, and of course, the arm goes up. By the way, shout out to Kane in full gear. Thank you. I was terrified
The
he was
only
gonna come
one.
out.
Everyone's all like dressed up in their suits and shit, and then Kane's like, nah.
Oh, I tell you what, I did pop for the Godwins. Oh
Oh
my
man,
god.
I
I was
lost
like,
it. I'm like, no fucking way.
mate, the Godwins were one of my favourite all-time tag teams. Like, it was really funny because I said to my partner, like, oh my god, these guys, like, they're wearing the dungarees. Like, when I was a kid, these guys were like pig slop and buckets and hillbillies and country. And she was like, and now you're somebody who's like that. And I'm like, holy shit, yes I am. I live in the country and tend to horses and clean up shit and all that kind of stuff. And I think, do you know what? I'm okay with that. Thank you, Godwins. By the way, they still look fucking great. Especially Phineas. He's looking baller in old age. Oh, by the way, Godfather, I don't know what you're up to, but you and R-Truth need to share the Fountain of Youth because that is unfair. That is, and Booker T as well. I know it's Black Don't Crack. You guys, fuck you. I will be dead by the time I get to your age, right? You look like my age now. Oh, they're like twice my age. That's depressing. And they look
It's
better than
actually
I ever
not
will.
fair.
Huh?
It's actually just not fair, man.
It's really not. No, it's uncomfortable is what it is. Anything else to add, mate, before we wrap up the live stream and hopefully get a few more listeners after the fact?
No, just I really like the idea of us doing a tribute to the Undertaker. Give it as much time as we deem necessary. I mean, the guy has had a 30-year career. I
It'd
mean,
be nice
I
to
was
accumulate everyone's favourite memories as well and talk about them on the podcast. So if anyone's
absolutely,
got
yeah.
anything, send them in to WrestlePlug. DMs, emails, wrestleplug@gmail.com. Doesn't really matter. Wrestleplug.com, we've got a website as well. Send them in. It would be lovely to hear what people think about The Undertaker.
Yeah, like, a lot of my memories are really fond of the American Badass because, circa 2003, I was 12 years old. And what's cooler than a dude on a motorbike with a bandana coming down to Limp Bizkit and kicking your ass? That was the coolest thing. So, yeah, I really want to, we'll go in depth about that. We want to hear what you guys think, how much you love Taker, because we all do. And it'd be a banger of an episode, I think.
Yeah, no question. We'll leave it there, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the live stream. I know not many of you have watched, but let us know what we can do to improve. Obviously, it is still a trial run. We're still trying to get things working, but we really want to make the most of our YouTube. Kyle's gone out of his way, bless him. He's got, nice camera, good setup and everything. We've really invested in the podcast, and any money that is sent to us, donated, or, from t-shirt sales, that's going to go back in completely to investment in this podcast to make it better for you guys. So let us know. Let us know if there were any sound issues. Try and give us as much detail as possible. Constructive criticism is fine. Just send us a message, an email, whatever. Leave it in the comments. Just say, hey, that was great, but so and so sound is a little bit off, or maybe this wasn't working as well. Great job, lads. Great podcast. Aeron Cruz, the master of the Cruz juice. Everybody follow Aeron Cruz on social media. He is he was my tag team partner until he ran off with Ethan Lee. It's fine. I'm not bitter about it whatsoever. You fucking Judas scum. But yeah, follow him. He's a
Okay,
wonderful
dude?
lad.
Sound like you got some pent up aggression.
It's a fuck you. I don't have any pent-up aggression. Fuck you. So check out Aeron Chris. He's a wonderful, wonderful young lad and the future of Brit Wres. I can guarantee that. As are many other people. But thank you very much for getting involved with the live stream, guys. Hopefully you enjoy it after effect as well. Let your friends know. If you know anybody who likes wrestling, who doesn't know what WrestlePlug is, Takes one click to subscribe. Takes one more click to set the notifications on so you get a comment when it... Shut up, Cruz. Cameron,
You little
Chef
shit.
Cameron Anderson he's laying down some sauce, mate, in the chat. I feel like we might have to plug that as a potential sponsored by WrestlePlug, the ultimate clash of youth, Cruz versus Cameron. It works beautifully. There's only one Cameron I like, and it sure as hell ain't David. So yeah, I'm thinking Cameron, obviously being one of my tag team partners, at least when it comes to Black Ops, he'll appreciate that. Mad love to you, boy. But yeah, what else to say really? Buy a t-shirt, wrestleplug.bigcartel.com if you're on the European side of things. If you're in North America, Canada, Mexico, all that kind of stuff, prowrestlingtees.com/wrestleplug. Help us out, buy a t-shirt. All that money, like I say, none of that goes in our pockets. It all goes straight back into this podcast to hopefully give you guys a better experience so we can have better interviews, cover more shows, and most importantly, hype up the local wrestling scenes and make sure that the independent scenes have a life beyond COVID-19, because frankly, I'm a little bit fucking sick and tired of Mr. 19 pissing me off. By the way, if AEW ever get hold of this, the Dark Order has to have a 19 called Virus. Come on. It's money. It's fucking money. It really, well, it's not money, but it's funny, and I don't care. And funny is money, goddammit. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for checking in with the WrestlePlug, guys. Like I say, it is a working process, the live stream, so try and bear with us if there are sound quality issues. But most importantly, let us know, because otherwise we can't really tell. I'll watch it back, see what I can get from it. But most importantly, we do need your support, so let your friends know. I know a lot of our wrestling friends, guys who I wrestle with as well. You might have friends who may not necessarily be into the podcast or don't know about it. Let them know. That's your job, everyone. You know, I'm not asking the world. If you can just tell one person that you love, that you know likes wrestling, about WrestlePlug and may not know about it, I think that's job done. But thank you very much for supporting us. Carl Wilkinson, did you enjoy your live streaming experience?
I did. It was definitely. It's
He's gone
weird. I
quiet.
mean, it's the same concept as like when I'm streaming my games and stuff. Like it's weird that people would actually care enough to sit down.
And where can people find Carl Wilkinson on Twitch?
Oh, my Twitch that I should probably plug. I mean, I've got a thing I can stream to YouTube now as well, but you know, it's a twitch.tv/xhistoria where the O is a 0. It's just my league name, and yeah, I mean the X is only there because it was taken otherwise. I mean, that's you just throw a letter in front and call it a day.
Neeson's.
Oh shit! I mean, he could have it then. He has a very particular set of skills that he's developed over a long and storied career.
Liam Neeson's a fucking pussy. I'll take him.
Yeah, Peter Griffin said the same thing, dude.
Do you know Liam Neeson legitimately won over 100 amateur boxing matches when he was younger?
I believe that. He's hard as fuck, dude.
He's all right. Don't get too excited about it. He's hard as fuck, dude. Yeah, let's get real homoerotic towards Liam Neeson. Yeah, no, we'll leave it at that. By the way, he was Hannibal in the A-Team film, so I was very happy about that because the A-Team rocks ass. That shows you how old I am. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. These poor people have been, well, they've had to put up with a lot. Great podcast, guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Jason. Once again, mate, real pleasure to have you on board. If you've got any friends who you think might be able to tolerate our nonsense, feel free to join. But it's a pleasure to have you on board, Sunshine. I hope you stay for a long time and enjoy the good time. From myself, Aeron X, and from Carl Wilkinson, who you should definitely check out on Twitch because he is actually relatively entertaining. And as far as I know right now, still single, ladies. So get in there.
I mean, you know, it's a work in progress. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah, you're a work in progress, you little sort.
Oh, you.
Oh, you. Anyway, with homoeroticism aside, thank you very much for checking out the WrestlePlug podcast live stream. Like I've said, please let us know what we can improve on and what you liked as well. Let us know what you like because it's not all negative at the end of the day, even though it does feel that way. And if you're out there and you're struggling with anything, you can contact us. You can be a part of the family and we can hopefully entertain you and keep you busy during lockdown, during difficult periods. But ultimately, please look after yourselves. Social distancing and all that. Try and wear a mask when you go shopping. No one's asking the world of you, just common sense. But yeah, keep checking out our content. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you leave a comment. And most importantly, make sure you keep a smile on your face and do the things that make you as a person happy. Until then, we'll catch you very soon for more nonsense from the WrestlePlug.
It's a big old thumbs up.
Yeah, right.